Resources Conservation Service, National Libraries of Medicine, and the Utah Farm Service Agency. So we're going to have to hurry now to make sure everybody gets a chance. So those of you that I mentioned, would you please come up near the podium?
I'm Thomas Rogers. I'm the odd duck at this meeting. What you see on the screen behind you is my issue. How many of you here, and I don't expect you to raise your hand, have family, relatives, or friends, or yourself living in a manufactured or mobile home? I've gone through the circuit of the reservations, most of the communities, not all of them, and I find that there's a very high percentage of the Native families living in manufactured or mobile homes. In February of 2008, a family contacted me. In fact, a medical professional contacted me because his baby was deathly ill and the state was threatening to take that child, and they were accusing the family of medical and nutritional neglect. When I gave them advice on how to deal with the AG and Child Protective Services, and we were able to forestall any action. 3 days later, I was able to travel to Manti, Sanpete County, and 3 days later, they came up from Sanpete County and ended up at Primary Children's Hospital. Primary was treating this child for this erroneous diagnosis. I saw the father and the mother and the child together, and my experience in pathology decades before dictated to me that this family had been poisoned. Didn't know precisely from what. And I challenged the father. I said, what have you been exposed to? Well, of course, curiously, the type of poison that he and his baby been subjected to creates an intoxication situation similar to alcohol, where generally the alcoholic person denies that they've been impaired or injured. 3 days later, I went down to Sanpete County looking for a cause that would be common to the entire family. I found it. Switched to the mobile home. What I found was they were living in a manufactured or mobile type home, and on the roof of that home, where nobody ever looks, were a cluster of pipes. Go ahead and switch that. Up on the roof, you can see a little short, stubby representation of exhaust pipes. There's a furnace exhaust, a water heater exhaust, and only 3 feet away is a power vent called a dilution air, or supplemental air, breathing air adder. And this exists on every single gas, propane, oil, or coal-fired manufactured or mobile home in the United States since 1976. 15 million families or individuals, totaling 36 million people, have been subjected to subtle poisonings of carbon monoxide when the weather was wrong. This family have been suffering this through the winter. Those pipes are short, they're close, and under deep snow, you have a cavitation issue, which means the family can be breathing basically pure furnace exhaust. I testified before Congress, before HUD, before FEMA, before the Katrina victims, tried to get reparations on this done or repair done. 2.5 years. I've dumped every dollar that I have personally. I have no other support. That's why I teasingly tell my friends, Lacey and Forrest, when I walk onto the reservation, I fit right in, except for my white skin, because I haven't been able to afford to fix my dental plate, because I take the $20 and put it in my gas tank to go to Fort Duchesne, or $50 to go up to Fort Washakie, or $40 to go to Fort Hall, or wherever. So I'm asking you 2 things. Help get the word out. Remember, the victims are not the ones who are going to accept the fact that they're being poisoned. Even the prosecuting officer up in Fort Duchesne is housed in one of these type units. And some of her people say, we've never had a headache or anything. Well, you cannot trust the judgment of the victim. It takes a caring, loving friend to identify this very obvious stupidity of putting these pipes close together. And I have a website called Gassing Native America, or more provocatively, Poisoning the Poor, or License to Kill. The reason I say that, you see this fourth picture down on the side, put that one. That tag says that that unit is controlled by the federal government and no local authority has jurisdiction. That's what I call a license to kill. And if they leave that thing in operation like that, then you'll end up with a baby looking like the baby in the picture just above. Anyway, I'm Thomas Rogers. I thank you. I love my Native American relatives. I want to keep their children and them alive. By the way, the test for it is simple. It's called carboxyhemoglobin. Push the third dang button on the pulse oximeter, and you can tell how much carbon dioxide is in the person's blood.
Thank you, Thomas. Now, the Natural Resources Conservation